Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel once again. I am Robert Storms, as always. If you're finding me for the very first time and you're new to this live stream thing, be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button. I try to live stream a couple times a week, not every single day, at least 3 if I'm feeling froggy, 4 times a week. So just to get everybody a heads up, because I know a lot of people are probably wondering what's going on with the thumbnail. So this is basically going to be a live review, live discussion of Stranger Things Season 3. However, that's not strictly what we're doing, okay? I know a lot of people, when they do live stream reviews, it's strictly on that one topic, one show. We're talking about everything here. You want to talk about DC, we'll talk about the DCEU. You want to talk about the MCU, you want to talk about Phase 4, you want to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, we're going to talk about everything. We are not sit here strictly for just Stranger Things. However, I do want to go ahead and review the series because I finished it after the live stream last night. So there will be spoilers for Stranger Things Season 3 if you haven't seen it already. And I kind of want to do a live discussion with that. But we're also going to be talking, Spider-Man and pretty much, anything that you guys want to talk about here on the live stream. Now, I finished Stranger Things Season 3 last night, and I have to tell you, I actually really enjoyed the fact that it was only 8 episodes. I was happy that it was only 8 episodes, that Netflix left it at a nice, simple 8 episodes, because last season I felt didn't need to be as long as it was. The one episode last season with Eleven, going off and doing whatever the hell she was doing, that was a throwaway episode. It didn't need to be in there. And every episode this year feels like every episode counted. There wasn't no throwaway episodes, and that's what really bothered me with last season. But I think out of all 3 seasons, I would have to say this is the weakest. Not saying that it's bad, because I don't think there is a bad season of Stranger Things. I still say 1 is number 1. 2 I would put as a second, and then 3, so it'd be like 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I don't think there is a bad season of Stranger Things. I really loved a lot of stuff that happened in this season. One thing that did bother me toward the beginning of this season was I don't know if anybody else noticed it. They really kind of went out of their way to make Jim Hopper a comedic character this season. Like you go back and you look at Season 1, and Hopper is this more serious, sheriff who lost his child, and he's trying to unsolve this mystery of what's going on, and he's a very serious character. And last season, he was more of a character trying to become a dad again, trying to care for Eleven and all this stuff. And then this year, it's sort of like, he's almost like a cartoon character where he's just running around going, and he'll just yell for no reason at all. Especially when he has the Russian character and he's just yelling like strawberry, cherry, like he's just yelling for no reason. And I think they really kind of made him too comedic this year. Now they made up for it with the last 3 episodes of the season. Because, yes, of course, as you guys have already said in the comments here, yes, Hopper does die at the end. But does he really die? I don't think he dies. It was a heroic end. Look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I cried like a little bitch at the end of that last episode. I cried like a little bitch. And it wasn't, the fact that Hopper died. With Winona Ryder turning the keys, blowing up the thing so they want to open the gate to the Upside Down. It was more the letter is what got me teared up. I really teared up with Hopper's letter that he wrote, the heart-to-heart letter he was going to, have with Elle and Mike. And the fact that, the kids were moving away, like Will was moving, his brother was moving, with Will's parents, like with Winona Ryder moving. His brother was, they had a relationship that was split up because of the move. Then we also have Eleven and Mike that split up because of the move. Then Eleven lost her father. So I felt it was a real emotional climax to the season. I really enjoyed it. But the thing that, like, I loved the season. I didn't necessarily like the fact that Dustin was away from his friends for the entire season. I didn't really like that. I really liked everything they did with Steve. Steve is my hands down my favorite character. I really, really like Steve. I really like what they did with Steve. I love the fact that he won a fight this year, which was great. I love the relationship with him and Dustin. I think that kind of got ruined when they introduced, Lucas's sister as a more prominent character this season, because she had a much bigger role this season than any other season. And I just kind of got tired of her smart ass, comments going, oh, you're a bunch of nerds, and, let me tell you, and when Hopper came down and she was telling Hopper, everything to do, like they're telling them how to do it, and like, look, man, you better listen to me, you jackass, and all. And I just kind of got really annoyed with Lucas's sister, and I felt like she had a bigger role than Lucas. I wanted to see more Lucas. Like, I know Lucas was in there, but the first 2 episodes was sort of this fucking Lucas and Mike trying to get their girls back. And it was like teenage drama. And I know that's teenage shit. I know that's what kids do. Like, I dump your ass. And it was like, it was so crazy. Yeah, it just kind of drove me nuts. And I did because I seen people like, I disagree she was funny. Yes, she was funny. But they overdid it, which made it no longer funny. Something is funny, right? Like you see someone slip on our ass, right? It's funny. But if you see someone slip and fall for 20 minutes for 8 episodes, it doesn't get funny anymore. It gets annoying. And I just felt like that was Lucas's sister. Like, there's no way in hell Lucas's sister should have had a more prominent role than Lucas. There's just no reason for that. And yeah, so that bothered me quite a bit. The fact that they made Hopper very comedic in the beginning of this, like the first 5 episodes, Hopper was a comedic cartoon character, just going around screaming, like why is Hopper doing this? So that bothered me, but everything else about the season I liked. I think it made sense that the Russians were trying to get into the Upside Down because it's the 80s. If you guys remember movies in the 80s, the Russians were always trying to do something wrong. And I think that was really good. Yes, I thought it was very, very emotional at the end with Hopper sacrificing himself in order to close the Upside Down, with Ryder having to turn the keys. I don't think he's dead. I think he got blown into the Upside Down. I think that's what happened, because the scientist comes back at the end and you can see where there's still a crack in the portal to the Upside Down. I think he got blown into the Upside Down. The other character I didn't really care for this season was the white bald guy who knows Russian. He had a small scene, or he didn't have a small scene, but he was like an episode or 2 in season 2 where why can't I ever think of Will's brother's name? The one is dating Mike's sister. I can't. Those are the only 2 characters I can't remember their name. Like, I think her name starts with a J or something. I don't remember. But like, they went there to try to find information. They ended up sleeping together. But he had a much bigger role this year. I didn't like him. He felt like a cartoon character. He felt like a character from fucking Tropic Thunder. So yeah, I wanted to see more of the scientist from season 1 and 2 in here. He comes at the tail end of the season, but to me, I think the highlight was really Dustin and Steve. My poor boy Steve can't fucking win, guys. My poor boy Steve can't catch a fucking win. He finally gets a fight. Nancy, thank you. Nancy, thank you, guys. So what's the guy's name? Jamie? What's his name? Everybody's saying Nancy. Okay, yeah, I get it. Jonathan. I knew it started with a J. Yeah, so, and the funny thing is, season 1, I loved Jonathan and Nancy. Loved them. Season 2, okay, all right, a little bit better. I like the fact that they went to, the thing to kind of get, information, end up sleeping together, whatever. But the guy they went to, who had a more prominent role in this season, felt like a cartoon character from Tropic Thunder. Jonathan and Nancy's character, I like what they were doing. But I don't know how many of you guys were screaming at your TV about this, right? Because you got Dustin doing the Russian spy shit with Steve, and then the new girl. Then you have, Lucas and Mike and Elle and Max doing their thing. Then you had Hopper and Winona Ryder doing their thing. At one point, after everything these characters been through, do they just stop and say, you know what, maybe we should go find everybody, get together, brainstorm notes, and then solve this very simply? Like literally, after everything from season 1, they did the same thing last season. They did the same exact thing last season where the boys were doing something. They knew what was going on. They knew something was going on. They were doing their own thing. Nancy and Jonathan were doing their own thing. And Hopper and Winona Ryder were doing their own thing. It was the same thing last season. And then the last 2 episodes, they all come together. And they kind of did the same thing. And I'm like, you guys all been through this shit. Like, the highlight of this season was when they all met up at the mall. They all came together at the mall. And then, like, Lucas's sister's like, Lucas, you're in this? And like, yeah, it's a long story, you know, this, and this. And they all knew each other. They all knew each other. Yeah, and it was a great moment because everybody was on the same page. And then Steve and Dustin were like, yeah, the Russians and this and this and this. And they're all coming together and piecing shit together. I'm like, why didn't you do this 2 episodes ago? By episode 5, everybody should have found everybody else. Like, if I was Mike or Lucas or Dustin, or everybody, I'd be like, you know what? Let's go to Hopper. Let's go talk to Hopper. You know why? Because Hopper's been through the same shit for the past 2 seasons. But, so let me get back to my boy Steve. Because Catherine's like, what did I think of Robin? I fucking loved Robin. She is probably like my second favorite character now. It was always Steve and then Hopper. I hated what they did with Hopper in the first 7 episodes where he was just this comedic character. They kind of redeemed him toward the end when he, you know, sacrificed himself. But I loved Hopper in the first 2 seasons. This year he was just sort of like this bumbling comedic beast, you know? And Robin, I really, really liked her a lot. I didn't think I was going to, because I didn't think she was going to have a big part in this season. I was like, oh, they're only going to be at this ice cream shop for like an episode, maybe 2, and then shit's going to go down and they're all going to go on their adventure. And I didn't expect Robin would join them. And I was like, man, please, for the love of God, hook Steve and Robin up. Like, hook them up, right? And one of my favorite scenes in this whole season was when they were in the bathroom and Steve kind of like talks about how he feels feelings for her and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, this is some emotional stuff, you know? And I really like Steve. I like Steve ever since Jonathan kicked his ass. I've been a fan of Steve. And I'm glad he got a win. And I like Dustin's like, dude, you want to fight, you know? But I'm a big fan of Steve and I wanted them to go together so much. And then when she introduces that she's lesbian, I'm like, oh. And there's nothing wrong about that. Nothing wrong with her being lesbian. It's fine. It's just, I really wanted someone, I love the chemistry between those two. And I'm so glad by the end of the episode that she goes out on a limb to get him a job at the store. And, you know, she's like, look, we're kind of buddies. I'm glad they're going to keep the relationship. I guess it's fine to have a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. I really wanted those two together. Like, so bad. I love the relationship with them. And I hope they continue that in season 4. Like Steve, Robin, and Dustin. I want that to be like the trio. Like, I love those 3 together. Forget Lucas's sister. God, I hope something happens to her. It was funny the first couple times, guys. Lucas's sister thing was funny for the first couple times, but when it started getting over and over and over and over and over and over and over, I'm like, for the love of God, will somebody just eat her? I'm just over it. And another character I think they completely redeemed. Alexei's death. Who the fuck was Alexei? You talking about the Russian guy? You talking about Smirnov? But another character I think they completely redeemed for me this year that I didn't think they could was Billy. They completely redeemed Billy for me. He was a character I did not like whatsoever in season 2. I was like, man, this is your stereotypical bully bad guy who thinks he's badass, who thinks he's like a ladies' man, he's from California, all this. And they completely redeemed him this season by letting Elle have a backstory about what he's feeling for his mom and, you know, some of the greatest moments. And when he just died and to see Max, go up to him as he died. It was emotional. It was emotional, and they made me emotional with a character that I couldn't stand. I did not like Billy whatsoever. And with the flashback scene of his mother and the reaction of Max, it really made me feel something for the character. And I think it's really good and great on the showrunners and the directors that they were able to take a character who I felt was a very one-note asshole character, and in his final moments made me feel sorry for the character. So that's really good. That was excellent on the part of the showrunners and directors and stuff. Catherine Pierce writes, I really hope Spider-Man 3, they mentioned Uncle Ben. For the love of God, please, come on. They keep ignoring him. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Hopefully, but I don't think they're going to do that. I see a lot of people saying Lucas's sister was funny. I liked her. Look, I'm not saying she wasn't funny, right? I am literally not saying she wasn't funny. I'm just saying they overdid it. They overdid it with her like by a million. It was funny at first. It was funny at first, and especially, whoa, come on, there we go. Yeah, it was funny as hell at first, but then they kept it going. Like I like the whole thing with the ice cream for life and all that stuff. That was funny. But when the time came when Hopper and everybody showed up at the mall and she starts telling them and starts chewing them out, I'm like, this is crazy. If this was in real life, people would have just, completely just threw it over to the side. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here, you little kid. Like here's a candy bar. Go do something. But overall, I definitely enjoyed the season a lot. So much, in fact, I'm probably going to start rewatching seasons 1 and 2 tonight. Maybe I'll play some video game, have it playing on the other monitor, and rewatch season 1. Season 1 by far is my favorite season because it's the most creepiest. Because for almost the whole season, you don't know what the hell is going on. It's almost like this weird movie where you see this alien, and then the alien adopts the kid. And then you don't know what's going on. It's like a mystery. And then he's like inside the wall, so it's like a poltergeist. And then you find out the secret organization and the Upside Down and all that. So I really like the mystery and intrigue of season 1. Season 2 was good, but it was more of like a horror sci-fi, and I really like that. And this one I think is good, but not as good as the first two. And I think a lot of that is the reason why I think this one isn't as good is because a lot of times they kind of rely on comedy for these characters, whereas I don't think Hopper should ever have been like this over giant sized. He almost felt like Hellboy. If you guys seen him if anybody's seen that Hellboy movie, I know I did, unfortunately. But if you guys seen the Hellboy where he's just kind of like this giant brute overreacting and being all comical and stuff, that's the way they made Hopper this season. And the funny thing was, they were really setting up a relationship between him and Winona Ryder in season 2, and I think it would have been much more appealing for his character if he is trying to juggle because he never seemed to care about Mike and Elle, right? And Mike and Elle spent the entire first season together, right? So I can kind of see him as a dad wanting to be a little overprotective. But I think that storyline went on way too long. I didn't believe Hopper would really do anything like that. And Hopper is always a character that is very serious and wants to do what's best for these kids. And to me, it just felt like he was all like, oh, rah, 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 Mike, I'm gonna run. And he takes off and I'll kill you and your grandma's dying. And it just didn't feel like Hopper. And then with him and the Russian, it was over the top comedy, and I just didn't believe it. And I think they kind of did the same thing with Lucas's sister, where it's fine. Make her a smart ass son of a bitch. That's fine. She can backtalk, be smart. That's all fine. But I think they just kind of overdid it with her, where like when they introduced it, it was like, oh, this is funny. Let's keep going. And they kept going, and they kept going. Just nerd and yeah, and it was like it kind of got repetitive at some point. I wanted it to kick into serious gear where, like, okay, we had our comedy for the first 5 episodes. Let's start kicking the gear into, more serious. And it wasn't until, like, episode 7 when we got into the seriousness. I felt bad about that Russian dying, though. I don't remember what's his name. Was his name Alexei? Or because he kept calling him Smirnoff, so I automatically just kept him calling him Smirnoff myself. But that one Russian fucking drives me nuts. It felt like they were doing Terminator at one point in this movie, like the fucking Terminator just hunting these guys down, and he shot the Russian. That kind of bothered me a little bit, but yeah, overall, I don't see anybody talking. If you guys have any questions for Stranger Things, by all means, throw in some questions. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the season. I do think it's probably the weakest out of the three, but they're all good. I don't mean to use the word weak as a negative because it's not. It's not. It's really, really good. And I like the fact that it was only 8 episodes because I think season 2 suffered by having more that didn't need it. And they had that whole last season. I remember they had that whole episode where Elle ran away, met her sister, and then they went and did bad stuff, and then they came back. And that whole episode was a throwaway episode. Didn't need to be in there. Andrew writes, I heard either season 4 or 5 will be the last of Stranger Things. I'm thinking 4 or what? Okay, let's hope it's 5. I don't want it to be season 4. I like the fact that they ended season 3 with the cliffhanger of the creature. And it looks like they're going back to basics with season 1. It looks like they're going back to basics with season 1, which what I wanted to see. And hopefully we get a season 5. I'm really hoping because there's not really too much on Netflix I watch anymore. All the Marvel shows have been canceled. I'm waiting for Glow season 3 to come out. I'm waiting for Sex Education season 2 to come out. That's really all I watch on there. I don't watch any of the other shows. And Netflix has already came out and said, yeah, we're going to cut our production budget on original content by half. So I really don't want to see it end. But all good things come to an end. As long as it ends and don't have cancellation. Like, I want it to end. Say what you want about Game of Thrones, whether you liked it or not. At least it had an ending. It wasn't like you're watching a show and they're like, well, guess what? We canceled it. Like Daredevil. It's like, oh, yeah, you like Daredevil season 3? Guess what? We canceled it. So I don't want it to be like that. No, I think Hopper's still alive, too. I do. I really think Hopper's still alive. I don't think the Russians have him because there was no Russians in there. I think the plot for season 4 is going to be somehow Hopper got knocked into the Upside Down. This is my speculation. Hopper got knocked into the Upside Down, and it's up to Mike and everybody to try to figure out where he is. I have a feeling he got knocked into the Upside Down, and it's going to be like season 1 sort of, where he's trying to communicate and let them know that he's in the Upside Down. Maybe at some point Elle finds out that he's in the Upside Down or something. But that's what I'm hoping. I definitely want to see more of Steve, more of Robin. I like the relationship between. I really that was the driving force. Everything with them, I just really, really liked. Catherine writes, Billy's backstory was so heartbreaking. It really made me feel so bad for him. I nearly cried. I did tear up. For the Billy thing. I was not a fan of the character in season 2. I wasn't. I was like, this is just another long-haired rock and roll California punk, coming in. He was very one-note last season. And he came back, and I was like, oh, they're redoing the same note. And then, the shit happens with him, and then with Elle finding out his backstory with the beach and stuff. And really, the emotion that Max felt when he died, right? That it was heartbreaking. It was really, really heartbreaking. And they made me feel for a character that I did not care for. I did not care for Billy until toward the end of the season. I think they did a real good job redeeming him. Nova wrote, post-credit scene said they have an American. Did they? Shit. I watched the post-credit scene, but I didn't catch that. I'm going to have to go back and check that. But I did not catch that. The story was trash, but the character building was good. The story wasn't trash. The story wasn't trash. Think about it. You have the Russians that are trying to break into the Upside Down. Meanwhile, the creature from season 2 has manifested. You know, I mean, the story was just as good as season 2. The problem was they kind of went overboard with some of the characters. There was a lot more characters in this season than last season. And they're trying to give screen time. Lucas's sister had way too much screen time. She should have been in there to get that door open, and she shouldn't have been in the rest of the season. Right? She shouldn't have been in the season. She should have just went through the pipes, got the deal for the ice cream, and then that's all we saw of her. Then they kept her around, and she kept with her smart-ass fucking attitude. They made Hopper a fucking bumbling reject, you know, with all this stupid nonsense he was doing in the beginning of the season. So it was just that some of the characters kind of fell off, but a lot of the new characters I liked. I mean, I liked Robin. I liked Alexei. I even liked the mayor. Right, what's the actor's name from Princess and the Bride? He played the mayor in this one, and I really liked the douchebag, underhanded, dirty mayor. I liked that. You know, I wanted to see more of that, and I just felt like they kind of really focused on comedy this year, and the whole "I dump your ass," you know, and then like they kind of went overboard with that a little too much. I gotta agree with you. I didn't too much care for Max this season. I kind of felt Max was a little annoying this season. She didn't have maybe she didn't have about as big a role as Lucas's sister. She wasn't like loud and obnoxious like Lucas's sister, but she was causing unnecessary drama. You know, and I understand these are kids. Kids do stupid ass shit. You know, but But I just feel like Max's character was causing unnecessary drama between Mike, Lucas, and 11, and it wasn't necessary. It was like I understand maybe do one episode of it, but it constantly went through the entire season. And even Lucas was like, "Yeah, Max dumped me like 4 times already." It was like, Jesus Christ, dude, like seriously. And to tell you the truth, the weakest part of the season was the Mike. We got a super chat coming in from Asora who says, saw Spider-Man today and got 2 very minor gripes. Mysterio in his on-screen mocap suit and Skrulls makeup was bad. Not as natural as in Captain Marvel. The Mysterio on-screen mocap suit was fucking awesome. Because it just shows you how awesome Mysterio is. He's like, man, dude, yeah. I'm just going to go in a mocap suit because all this technology is going to do shit. It made sense. I love that. And as for the on-screen makeup for the Skrulls, I've only seen it once, the end credit scene. The second time I saw the movie, I didn't stay for the final end credit scene. And I thought the makeup looked exactly like the makeup from Captain Marvel. I honestly didn't catch that at all. So I don't know what the complaint is about that, but I thought it was identical to the Captain Marvel. Now the characters are like 20 years older, so who knows how that affects them, but I thought the makeup looked spot on. And I totally disagree with the whole mocap suit. I thought that was brilliant. Brilliant. Bravo. It made sense for that character to have an on-screen mocap suit because that's what he was doing. He was doing mocap. Still, he had a mocap suit. It was awesome. Like, he didn't even have to get dressed up for the movie. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go in my mocap suit, guys. You know, so it was sort of like meta. You know, he was in a mocap suit to film the movie that was in a mocap suit to film the scenes. It's so meta. It was awesome. I loved it. It was like one of the best parts of the movie. I loved it. It was brilliant. That was, I don't know who came up with that idea, if it was in the script or the director or what, but I thought that was brilliant. So I 100% disagree with you, Asora. So are we not talking about Stranger Things anymore? Are we getting away from Stranger Things now? Are we going into Spider-Man? Is that what we're doing right now? But yeah, so I mean, it's cool. It is. Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal by hand down was the best part of the movie. Hands down was the best part of the movie. If just like Homecoming was Michael Keaton was the best part of the movie, hands down, Gyllenhaal was the best part of this movie. It's amazing. I don't know why. Why are the villains the best part of these new Marvel Spider-Man films? Why? I mean, Spider-Man was good in this movie. At least he felt like Spider-Man, unlike Spider-Man Homecoming, where he felt like, a toddler Tony Stark in training. But yeah, the villains kind of take over this new franchise. But Spider-Man 3 understands Peter Parker than Amazing Spider-Man 2. Well, you're an idiot, so you're not an idiot. You're entitled to your opinion. I think that's an idiotic comment, but you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. Did we go into the Upside Down this season? No, we did not go in the Upside Down this season at all. We did not do that at all. They tried to get into the Upside Down. Remember, Elle closed the portal, the void, in season 2 at the end, so they didn't get through there. But I have a feeling it's going to play a huge role in season 4. Season 4, I think it's going to play a huge role. A huge, huge role. Huge role. Hold on a second. Guys? Hold on. Wait a second. Yeah. But thank you for the super chat, Sora. I appreciate it. I disagree with the mocap suit, but hey, everybody has their own, right? Everybody has their own tastes and stuff. I personally think the mocap suit was a brilliant move. I already explained what I like about the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I'm not going to go into detail for the 1 millionth time. I mean, you can go back and watch any of my live discussions featuring Spider-Man Far From Home, and you'll hear me say what I like about the Amazing Spider-Man movie. So I'm not going to repeat that. There's a lot to like about it if you're a hardcore Spider-Man fan. And look, I don't expect anybody to agree with me. Just respect that's my opinion. You guys can do what the fuck you want. If you like other movies, fine. Like other fucking movies. But I like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I feel like I shouldn't be harassed by people because I like those movies. I'm not sitting here. I never once harassed anybody for liking Homecoming. Right? I think the movie's god-awful piece of shit, but I never once criticized any person for liking it. And for people to criticize me for liking something, I think that's kind of messed up. Sora comes in with another super chat. Scrolls couldn't move his bottom corner lip, and I didn't feel like we were misled, I did feel like we were misled on him not having his own Iron Man suit because of the guy scientist in Iron Man 1. Dude, I am completely... it's not late, so I'm not tired. I don't understand what you're saying. So you think it's bad makeup because he couldn't move the bottom corner of his lip. You ever thought maybe it was just bad CG? And it doesn't matter. It was the post-credit scene, son. It wasn't a feature part in the movie. And then your second part said, and I did feel like we were misled on him not having his own Iron Man suit because of the guy scientist in Iron Man 1. What the hell does that even mean? Who was misled? Who didn't have his own Iron Man suit? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I honestly, oh my God, it's like a brain fuck me, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. I honestly, dude, like, I'm not even trying to be rude. I have no idea what you're talking about. I did feel like we were misled on him not having his own Iron Man suit because the guy, scientist, and what? I don't. Does anybody else understand what the hell he's trying to say? I literally do not know what you're trying to say. So, yeah, I mean, we went from Stranger Things to Spider-Man, and now I don't even know what the hell we're talking about in Spider-Man. So, yeah, there's that, I guess. What time is it? Yeah. We'll stream for a little bit longer. But I wanted to get some good Stranger Things discussion in here. I mean, we did talk about it for a good 20 minutes, so. DMX Scott's like, nope, have no idea what he's talking about. I'm trying, dude. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I just honestly don't know what you're saying. Yeah. So yeah. Catherine writes, what do you think? What do you think Sword is? It's supposed to be Shield in space. Hold on. Sword comes in with another super chat. Mysterio's partner in Iron Man. Yeah. What about him? Mysterio's partner is from Iron Man 1. Yes, the guy who played Ralphie in A Christmas Story. I understand. He was the one that was trying to help build the reactor for Stain in Iron Man 1. And he said, well, sir, with all due respect, I'm not Tony Stark. Yes. So what? I understand who the guy is. But why do you feel like you got misled on him not having his own Iron Man suit? That's the part I don't understand, is that entire sentence. You said, and I did feel like we were misled on him not having his own Iron Man suit. I do not understand what you mean by that. I honestly do not understand what you mean by that sentence. Yes, we know it's the same doctor, the same scientist from Iron Man 1. We understand that. But why did you say I did feel like we were misled on him not... You know what? I'm done talking about it. We're moving along. We're moving along. Yeah, so a lot of people hit me up and said, Fury's in space with that space station because he's creating Sword, which is the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. He want to have an Iron Man suit. Yeah, so from what people messaged me, I gave him another super chat since his partner could have built him one. Who? Build who one? Did you want the scientist to have one? Did you want the Mysterio to have an Iron Man suit? I don't know what you're talking about. You are literally talking gibberish. Who do you want to have the Iron Man suit? The scientist? He's too fat to be in an Iron Man suit. Did you want Mysterio to have he couldn't build it anyway. So anyway, we're moving along. We're done talking about this. But yeah, so people were saying, yes, Sword is the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. So obviously he's going to be out there, monitoring the cosmos, if you would. So, is it bad that I didn't like Robin as a lesbian? No, that's not bad. Because I'm like this on it, right? I'm always down for characters being gay, or let me rephrase. I'm always down for girls being lesbian, right? I'm always down for lesbians, right? But I really wanted her and Steve to get together because I felt like they had so much chemistry. Like, they made such a good team. And then when she's like, yeah, I like girls, I was like, man, fucking Steve can't catch a break, man. He really can't catch a break. And I really, 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 really wanted those two together. Now, the good thing is, they can still be together, just not as a couple. They can still keep that friendship. We see her go out at the end going, hey, we have this weird relationship. Try to give him a job at the video store. She goes out, really puts her name out to try to help him out. And the guy's like, yeah, we're really good friends and whatnot. So they still keep that buddy-buddy relationship and build on that relationship. But to know that it's never going to go to that next level, there's really no suspense there. So that kind of... bothered me. I didn't have a problem with her being lesbian, but I really wanted her to end up with Steve, and unfortunately, that is not gonna happen. So, hey, Two Gun, thank you so much. I'm glad you love the show, my friend. So yeah, I'm always down for a character being gay, as long as it's told right. Yeah, we're not talking about the scientist in the Iron Man suit no more, Sora. Okay? You just dropped that like 10 minutes ago, son. Ain't nobody in the chat even paying attention to that anymore. We're not talking about Ralphie, who shot his eye out in A Christmas Story, about building an Iron Man suit. We're done with that now. It's over with. Thank you for participating in the conversation. You completely brain fucked me today. So yeah, but I actually really enjoyed this season of Stranger Things. I thought it was a really, really good season. Not the best out of the three, but they're all like if I would give season 1 an A+, I give season 2 an A, this would be an A-. Like, I think they're all great. I don't think it's like a B or C. I think it's another great season. Unfortunately, it's just not as good as the other two. But A- is always a good thing, man. It's always a good thing, and I enjoyed the season very thoroughly, with the exception of, Lucas's sister being very annoying after the first couple times. It was good for a while. It was funny. I laughed, ha, ha, ha. And then eventually I was like, for the love of God, I wish somebody would just come shoot me. Hey, Russian guy who looks like the Terminator, can you come blow my brains out? That's what I wanted after a while. And I thought they made Hopper a very, just sort of like this giant, menacing retard in the first few episodes of this season, where he was just running around doing giant, like, Hulk smash. That was Hopper in, like, the first 4 to 5 episodes of this season. Catherine Wright, the show is awesome, Rob. Love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, definitely, really like the season so far. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Like the season. Think it's very solid. And yeah, we've streamed for almost 40 minutes. So Mike's mom is a whore. Well, she didn't actually do anything with him. And they did look, they didn't really right, like, they kind of justified it. Like, she goes out in the living room and her husband's like sound asleep, so obviously she's like not getting none, so she wants to get some. So they at least kind of justified it, but she didn't actually do it. So her character is not really a whore. So now if she would have met Billy and slept with Billy, then she would have been a whore. But I don't think Billy paid her, so technically she wouldn't be a whore, because you would have to pay her to be a whore. Or at least that's sort of what I think, but who knows? I'm not the smartest person. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But what can I say? What can I say, guys? But all right, so I'm going to end it with that. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out to the live stream, watching me talk about Stranger Things Season 3 for about 40 minutes. I appreciate each and every one of you guys all so very much. I love each and every one of you guys. I really do. Thank you, everybody, for hitting that subscribe button, that like button, sharing, leaving comments, asking questions. Asura, thank you so much for your super chat donations. Like I said, guys, I can't do this channel without your tributes. With your donations, help me out so very much. It is basically what keeps this channel going, helping buy new equipment. So thank you so much, Asura, even though your last question completely brain fucked me and it's still fucking my mind. Thank you so much for your super chats, Asura. I appreciate it. And yeah, guys, so thank you all so very much for coming out. And until next time, as always, I am Robert Storms, and this is my opinion.